But anyhow, let's just say that my trip was interesting through every syllable of that word. Interesting. Not interesting. Hello? Interesting. Because Atlanta's the kind of city that, man, people they just do whatever. But, everybody out there seemed like they were in like such a good mood. I didn't meet anybody who was like on some negative stuff. Even like all my fellow Florida State fans, like after the game was over, there wasn't a lot of like trash talking or, anything like that. It wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. And yeah, let me tell you, bro. I can't put it up on social media, but I could. One of these days, I could show you just how it gets down up in Magic City, because they don't let you record nothing in there. But then again, how many people that are CIA trained go in there, and they think they're gonna find out what they're doing? So they didn't catch me, but I'll see if I can send some of it to you, bro. And if I do, or when I do, you're gonna have to send me back some of the money that I spent while I was in there, because I'm a little, light in the pockets on $1 bills right about now. But hey, I gotta tell you folks, I don't think I've ever drank that. I have not drank that much. Well, I won't say I haven't drank that much like in a long time. I can name at least 10 times on top of my head where I've had that much to drink. But I honestly didn't have anything since I got off the plane in Atlanta that wasn't alcoholic. Everything I had since I got off the plane was alcohol based. It was either beers or I had done some triple tequila shots with these folks that I met from Atlanta, white folks. Okay, I'm not being racist, I'm just saying they were white. They're Florida State fans. They, I asked the dude to, take a picture or do a video recording of me doing something, at the Fan Fest thing. And he gave me back the phone. And I told him, because this is me. This is how I am. I said, okay, you look out for me, you Florida State folk, or you just, you common folk like me. I'll buy your next drink. Your next drink's on me. So we went to the little beer pavilion, got him, him and his wife, a couple beers. Everything's on me. I ain't tripping. And they're like, oh yeah, you can just hang out with us if you're by yourself. We're cool people, this and that. You would think, first impression that, they might be like some racist redneck kind of folks, but in all reality, just because they speak like in a southern accent and everything, these people were like, the definition of southern hospitality. They're like, oh, you're not from out here? You didn't get a hotel room? You need a place to stay tonight? This and that. Like, I mean, keep in mind, there's a lot of, there's quite a bit of racial tension and racial divide, across this country, to a certain degree, more so in recent history than, there has been like in the last 15 to 20 years or so. But for me, and I'm a mixed breed person, but I don't come across as, off the top, people assume that like I'm white or I'm mixed with white to any degree. Like, most people's first impression of me is that I'm Hispanic or mixed with African American of some kind, which neither one is a incorrect assumption, but nobody really mistakes me for being white. And to have some white people from the South. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of, just look at the news. There's a lot of stuff going on in the South that has a lot to do with, like, racial tension. And here's this white couple, this married couple that, they see me and they say, oh, you're cool. Is there anything that you need that we can, do for you kind of thing? I didn't ask them anything. I didn't say like, hey, I'm a little light in the pockets this week. I was hoping to, shack up with somebody if possible. No, it wasn't like that. I told these people, I'm just here for the game. I'm flying back in the morning. They're like, man, if you need a place to stay, just come with us after the game, this and that. Now, granted, that could have went all kinds of wrong, if you're not careful about that kind of thing. But, still, man. All right, but we're gonna make that one up though. But we're gonna have to make it up there because it's. I don't know if you've ever been in there before, Blood, but it's a whole nother ball game in there. It ain't like that New Century in Frisco, that one that we went to. This one's a little bit more. Imagine New Century mixed with. I want to say, what's that bar that we used to go to right across from Chabot? That was right next to the Jack in the Crack. We get out, we walk through the drive-thru. It's like a mixture of that bar with New Century in San Francisco. That's basically like the best way I could put it. You know what I mean? And what's his name? Brandon Marshall of the Denver Broncos. I think he's still on the Denver Broncos. He was up in there, not the receiver, but the linebacker for the Broncos. He was up in there. So, if anybody that's halfway known is up in a strip club, everybody gonna be trying to be active up in there. You can take the word active however you want to take it. But it was a cool little setting. Oh, yeah, I think I had like 6 Coronas in there like the whole time. I was only there for like 2 hours. And that's after the 8 beers I had at the game, because the beers were only $5 at the game. And you can get as many as you can fit in your hands. So I was getting them by the 3s. And in between each quarter, I go up to and they're right there at the top of the stands. They can't walk in the stands. I asked the dude, I was like, how come you guys can't come down here? He goes, nah, you guys got to come up here. But he right there, so I go up in there and say, let me get 3. I just give him a 20. You know what I'm saying? They're only $5. So I say, give me a 20, I would have took 4, but, I'm the kind of dude that I tip. So, I'm a tipper. You know me, I used to work in a restaurant. You got to tip. So, that's just the name of the game. Hang on. We got to deal with the boys. But, like, at the end of the day, you drink that much and you just say, okay, maybe I can walk this off, or by the time I get to the airport, like I'll sleep it off or something. But nope, I actually walked to Magic City from the football game. It's about 3/4 of a mile away from the stadium. Couldn't have asked for any more convenience than that, except for the fact that club is not in the friendliest looking neighborhood. I'm just gonna keep it real. Make sure your pockets are double knotted when you're walking down those streets. But yeah, after all that alcohol, and I went to Waffle House right afterwards. It was freezing inside that Waffle House. I'm talking like 50 degrees up in there. But it was 60 degrees outside. I mean, I was literally like freezing. I'm still cold, even though I got the air conditioner on right now, because it's 89 degrees in Los Angeles right now. But, I could not believe how cold it was in there. And I was so tired from having been on my feet for the last 4 hours straight, because as soon as that game was over, I don't know what time it was over on the West Coast. For me, it was over like at about like 11:15 or so. And from 11:15 till about, that club was over at about almost 4, I want to say, a.m. And I was on my feet that whole time. I didn't even sit down at the club. There's nowhere to sit down. If you want to sit down, you got to get the VIP. I didn't exactly have VIP money. And I'm not exactly the kind of dude that walks in and they say, oh, you're Mateo, we'll put you in the VIP. I'm not there yet. Okay, but I think I just missed my exit. Anyhow, on my feet, went drinking all those beers. By the time I got to Waffle House, I sat down at my table and I had ordered my food, but I fell asleep. I didn't fall asleep. I just dozed off for a little bit. Like, between ordering my food and them actually delivering it. I don't know how long that was, but all I know is they brought the food to my table and they had to wake me up. My head was down. But I was like, man, I wasn't even ready to eat anymore at that time, so I just put it in some to-go boxes and called an Uber back to the airport, because I figured, if anything, I'll just hang out there until my flight leaves. Maybe I can doze off there, but still the same thing, nothing doing. I closed my eyes for maybe 10 minutes. I mean, what's a 10-minute nap when you've just been drinking all night and hadn't really ate that much? So, on the plane, I can't sleep on airplanes for some reason. I don't know why. And plus, those seats were not comfortable anyway. I mean, it was like being on an Amtrak or a Greyhound bus with everybody on the bus, because there was no open seats on that plane. What's the next trip? Man, I'd say let's go to Vegas for your birthday, but January weather in Vegas is terrible, man. And you know that. We've been out there for your birthday in January. I've been there for my birthday in November, multiple times, and it's not warm enough, to be, chilling at the pool or nothing. That's what I hate about it. I'm not saying I hate your birthday being in January, but I just hate that Las Vegas don't got that year-round, hang out at the pool weather. But, or shit, let's go down to Miami. Hell, you can go to Miami anytime. Miami, go back to Atlanta. But I'm only going back to Atlanta when the hotel rooms are cheaper. And that's why I did not get a hotel room, because they were just too dang expensive. Granted, it's Labor Day weekend, plus the game was in town. So I know that's why hotels were yanking up the prices. But, it just wasn't worth it. Plus, I knew I was leaving the next day anyway. If I knew I could have afforded to stay there one more day, then I definitely would have got a hotel room, and I would have went right back to Magic City as soon as they opened again. But no, that's the kind of